Hi and welcome. Now let's talk about the role of the sound cards. As I already touched this subject when I was speaking in the previous episode about the home studio essentials, I was telling you that the sound card is mainly for monitoring purposes. That's the most important. But then if you are a singer-songwriter and you want to record vocals or acoustic instruments via microphone or even exterior sound source via lining, then in that point a sound card role also is important. But then the role of the sound cards ends, meaning that at the mixing and the mastering level, when you just finished arranging your composition, shaping it, equalizing, compressing it, so everything is finished, and you are at the final stage that you want to mix down your multiple tracks and bounce it up to a final stereo track. In that moment, your sound card role ends. Your sound card will not be used at that level. So this is really amazing, and the majority of the people do not know this. So even if you are going, you are a beginner and you are going to an instrument store and you want to buy your first sound card, you want your mixes and your music to be professional, the majority of the people automatically will tell you that if you really want to be serious and professional in creating music, then you have to buy a very expensive sound card, without giving you a real explanation why you have to buy it or why you shouldn't buy it. Now, of course, the sound card it is important in a home studio or in a production studio or in the music composition creation stage. But the role, as I told you, is just for the monitoring purposes mainly. So when you are creating the music, when you are recording something, obviously you want to hear very clearly what you are doing. And then when you are starting to mix down multiple tracks, then in the same way, it is very important to hear very clearly the frequencies, the sound frequencies, so that you can hear very clearly if there's a problem or everything is just sounding great in your arrangement. So for monitoring, for listening purposes, is crucial to have a sound card. Now, to have a better or the worst or the first price sound card or a very high price sound card for the monitoring purposes is not really justified. Now, the difference between a very cheap sound card and a very expensive sound card, in this role of the monitoring purposes, the difference between a cheap and a very expensive one is that at the very cheap sound card, you have only 2-channel outputs for monitoring purposes, as at the most expensive sound cards you have multiple outputs. You can connect multiple monitors, so that just by switching between them you can really listen your music, your composition on multiple monitors. So there's the justification of the expensive sound cards. Now the second justification, if you want, and what's the difference between a cheap sound card and more expensive sound cards, are the inputs. So the cheapest sound card only have one input, as the most expensive sound card can have let's say 32 inputs. So there's the difference. This is really the difference between a cheap one and an expensive one. And then the difference is between the microphone built-in preamps. So of course, in a very cheap sound card, you will have a cheap and not so great microphone preamp, built-in preamp. But at the very expensive sound card, you will have really great microphone preamps. So this is another justification why there's a price range, and why there are certain sound cards that are really expensive. And then, of course, every sound card has a digital versus analog versus digital converters. Now these converters also can be different. So a more expensive sound card, these DAs, digital audio converters, are more performant, really high quality. As for a cheap sound card, the quality is not so good. If you are buying a very expensive sound card just for the reason thinking that your music, your composition sounding will be better just by the fact that you are buying a really expensive sound card, it is wrong and it is false. To understand that at the mixing and mastering level, when you are just really bouncing down mixing down the multiple tracks that you have recorded, and to understand that in that stage your sound card actually it's not connected with your DAW, or it's not in relation directly with the quality of your mix, I invite you to do a little test with your DAW. Now my DAW is Ableton Live. I have a composition already open. Send this track. Okay, so this is the track. Now what I'm going to do first, so I created a directory, and I will bounce down. So I have multiple tracks on this recording. You can hear I'm using multiple instruments, and so I will mix down this one to a final stereo track. And firstly, I will show you. I go to my DAW preferences, and I will select as an audio device. I will select my sound card. So this will be with my sound card. Okay. I have selected my sound card, and I will just bounce down to my final mix. So this I will entitle sound card. Then the second one, I will bounce it down. I will go back to my preferences, and here I will select nothing. So no audio card. So now I'm without any audio card. You can see here. And I will bounce it down like this. So no sound card. So this was without sound card, and now we will use it, the built-in sound card to my laptop, to my MacBook Pro. Because every laptop, every desktop has on the motherboard, if not a basic sound card, because without sound card, any computer, we couldn't hear any sounds or any effects or nothing if they wouldn't have a sound card, even a basic one. So I'm going to the preferences. I will select. So I have selected the built-in sound card of my MacBook Pro, and I will bounce it down. So Mac Pro sound card. Let's just bounce it down. Okay, now what I'm doing, I will create a new session. I'll not save this one, so I will create a new session. So let's put just here. So we have the three tracks. Okay, and what we can do, well, magnify a little bit. You can already see that they are really resembling. So you can see here, this is MacBook Pro, this one is with no sound card, and this is with the sound card. So it's strange because with no sound card, we still have a track. So that's strange, because if the sound card is really working when we are bouncing down multiple tracks, strange that without sound card, so we have eliminated really all the sound cards, and we have a track. So I'm really I want to listen this track because I would like to hear. So now what I will do, I will start to mute other tracks and just solo one by one. Now let's start, because I'm really anxious to listen the no sound card. Let's see how that sounds. Amazing! Without the sound card, we still have a track, and the track sounds okay. That's strange. Now let's listen the version with the sound card of the MacBook Pro, so the basic sound card. Let's see how that one sounds. I got the impression that it sounds the same, so that's strange. So we have a track with with the sound card, with the MacBook Pro sound card, built-in sound card. Then we have one without the sound card, and it sounds the same. Now let's see the third one. The third one is actually my sound card, the sound card that I'm using. I'm using the Focusrite 2i2, and let's hear that one. I really have the impression that these three tracks are really the same, and they are sounding the same. But how can it be? How this is possible? Because the third one I used my Focusrite external sound card. With the second one I used no sound card. So I bounced down and mixed down the multiple tracks using no sound card, and then the first I used the sound card, the built-in sound card of my MacBook Pro. So that's strange. How can they sound the same? Let's listen. I will change from the 1 to 2, then for 3, and I will just change them as they play. So let's start with the MacBook Pro built-in sound card. Okay, now let's switch to no sound card. And now the Focusrite. Now go to the no sound card mix down, and then with the built-in sound card mix down, and again with the Focusrite. This is obvious. I think I hope that you have understood what is happening right now. So as I explain it to you, the role of the sound card just stopped when I started to mix down my multiple tracks. So basically it's more mathematical process where the sound card is not in use. So the moment when your music, your project, you are mixing down, you are bouncing down to a final stereo track, in that moment your sound card it's not working. So even if you have the most expensive sound card in the world, in the moment when you are bouncing down, you are mixing down your multiple tracks, your project, or the master bus, the sound card it's not working. It is just not working, and I can show you that this is something real. I had moments when I was only with my laptop away, and there was a project, and I had to send to the project manager the mastered file, and I had only the project with the multiple tracks. And I didn't have sound card, I didn't have anything with me. I said to myself, okay, what I'm doing now, because I have to send him really the master file. So what I did the same thing like I did right now. I just bounced it down and I sent it to him, and everything was fine. That track was used, and it was amazing. So the role, again, it is very important to know, if you are a beginner, why you should or you shouldn't buy a very expensive sound card, and what is the role of the sound card. So you have to understand the sound card mainly, and the most important role is the monitor. For the monitoring purposes, a really cheap sound card can do the job. So if you want to buy a very expensive sound card just because you think that a very expensive sound card will make your composition sound better, well, think again. You're totally wrong. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.